What up, nerds? Welcome to another cotton candy-fueled episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 318, recorded on Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the winner of the May poll pick, which was Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got our boy Randy Gandy G. Landy. What's up?
Ahoy there, folks. Step right up, hurry, hurry. We got us a big show tonight, and it's going to be some dog shit.
A step right up. A step right up.
He just immediately went to Tom Waits. Any carnival barker. I get you. I'm right there with him.
$3 for $1. It'll get you a job. It is a job.
It'll order you a pizza, etc. Yeah. God, I love that shit.
It'll find that shoe that's been at large under the Chase Lounge for months. Almost. Next up, calling in from Jacksonville, Florida, we got our boy Soju. What's up, man?
What up? It's your boy Killer Stains from Cooter Space. What up, boy?
Wow.
I thought it was going to be special tonight. I was right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you say Clown Stains from Cooter Space?
Wait, what did I say?
Killer
Stains from
Clipped
Cooter
out.
Space.
I missed it.
Killer Stains from Scooter Space, I think.
Killer Stains from
Cooter Stains from Killer Stain Cooter Space.
Tight.
This is a finely tuned instrument.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Last but not least, joining us from Southern Florida, returning. Welcome, Anthony. What's up, dog?
Oh man, hell was awful. I was resurrected this past weekend. I wish I was resurrected earlier just to enjoy some of the cold, but asshole had to resurrect me right when the fucking heat was hitting here in Devil's Armpit.
You're welcome.
Who is your patsy? Did you get Chris Kaiju down there or what?
Oh no, he's still stuck in hell. He's doing the whole Godzilla in hell thing.
Oh, just watching the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Over and over. That's good shit, man.
I'm happy to be back. I missed you guys. I know I saw Rob and Soju a couple weeks ago, but Randy, it's been a minute.
It has. I'm pleased to see you, my friend.
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
We were hanging out at Spooky Empire, and Anthony was like, "What are y'all talking about?" And I was like, "Well, we got Killer Klowns coming up." And he was like, "Dog, I love that movie." And I was like, "Well, your sexy ass is getting on the show. That's happening for sure." Anthony, for those who maybe haven't heard your sexual voice on our podcast before, why don't you let let everybody know what you're doing? What do you got? Spooky goings-ons. Let them know.
You should see Rob when he's drunk. He's definitely way hornier.
The horny quotient has exceeded capacity already.
I'm not sorry.
I know you're not. It's easy to tell.
I'm the editor-in-chief and founder of Ghoulish Media. We're a genre entertainment site focusing on horror, sci-fi, kaiju, and now kind of branching off into action with a still focus on kind of extreme, crazy genre, fun stuff. We put out a series of podcasts, reviews. This is the whole shebang. So if you're a film fan, ghoulishmedia.com is the site for you.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic. Check out Ghoulish Media everywhere the internet lives. Without further ado, let's go ahead and tackle some housekeeping real quick. Here's another reminder. Our June poll pick is currently posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this June. The theme for June is vehicular manslaughter, and the three movies you can vote between are Christine, Joyride, and Rubber.
How are those numbers looking?
Looking solid, my mang. Rubber is in first place still.
Oh, no.
Christine is like a vote or two behind, and Joyride's only a vote or two behind that.
So Joyride's not bad. as far as I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys already cover Duel on the show?
We have not covered Duel.
There might have to be a return of this category because there were quite a few movies that just didn't make the cut.
Maximum Overdrive isn't on
for
there.
starters. Yeah. There's plenty to choose from, and I don't know. It seems like those kind of movies don't get as much mention on this podcast as other subgenres. So we need to get on
Bender is another good one. There's a lot of options. The Car, for God's sake.
The Car, yeah.
The Car. Yep.
The Car. So make sure you get your votes in before the end of May. We'll see what we're talking about this June. That's really all we got going on for Patreon. Juice, do you have any news?
Nope. My house is clean this week.
Oh, shit.
Tight. Last thing I want to mention, again, Randy's playing me out. My speech is going too long. Big thanks.
Come on, man. Wrap it up.
Big thanks to everybody that hung out this past Friday for our Joe Bob watch party. He threw ginger snaps and fried berry on, which was a new Shudder original. If you want to join our watch parties every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we throw a link on all of our social media outlets to join in on our Zoom watch party. Squad has been deep, and it's been a lot of fun these past few weeks. So check us out this Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now, I believe our houses are clean.
All right. Are you sure?
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
This house is clean.
Because we can go back if you want. We can dirty it up a little more.
No.
Okay.
I think we're good. Let's
What
go.
up? It's your boy, Color Stains from Cooter Space.
Yeah. All the way back.
We're going rolled it back 10 minutes.
Wow. Let's go.
But you might need a little sound bump there, Bob.
I don't. Let's get into the main event. We're talking about Killer Klowns from Outer Space, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
All right. Killer Klowns from Outer Space from 1988. This was directed by Stephen Chiodo. It's written by Charles and Stephen Chiodo, the Chiodo brothers. Stars Grant Kramer, Suzanne Snyder, John Allen Nelson, and some other folks. Plot synopsis is as follows. Step aside, Pennywise! These killer clowns from outer space are packing popcorn guns. When Mike and girlfriend Debbie warn that a gang of extraterrestrial killer clowns have landed in the nearby area, the cops are naturally skeptical. Before long, however, reports are coming in from other local residents detailing similar run-ins with large-shoed assailants. There can no longer be any doubt the killer clowns from outer space are here, and they're out to turn the population into candy floss. Gentlemen, thank you, Randy. Gentlemen, had you seen this before? Would you recommend people check it out? Juice, kick us off.
I had seen this before. It's been a long time to where I only remember 2 or 3 of the key scenes from this. So it was good to revisit it again. Recommend is not for general audiences. It's very much of its time. The 80s, man. It's like the 80th fucking B-side movie ever. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely got an 80s style, 80 flair. I know a lot of people don't like clowns, so you'd have to get over something like that. I didn't like it as much as I remembered and thought I would going back to it. So take that for what you will. So a loose recommend with some heavy
hemming and
parameters on that one.
All right.
Parameters, my God. Just fucking mapping the human genome with this recommendation.
Wow. Anthony, had you seen this before? Would you recommend people check it out?
Not watching Killer Clowns from Outer Space at least once a year is like a cardinal sin in my book.
Nice.
You know, it's like thou shalt not kill and thou must watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space annually. I love this movie. And we'll get into it later on in the episode. But if you're a genre film fan, if you're a horror movie fan, if you're a fan of 80s cinema and practical effects, and you can kind of dig on the campiness of what this genre has to provide, I think you'll thoroughly enjoy Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
Right on. Randy, what about you?
I'll echo that. I think that in general, first of all, yes, I have seen this film probably, I want to say like maybe 3 times, at least once with my mom when I was in like teenage years.
Best mom.
Just had it on.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was actually like it's a pretty good movie for that sort of situation. I also watched Requiem for a Dream with her the whole time. So yeah,
good double feature.
Different worlds of experience there. I would say I would recommend that such a scenario for Killer Klowns, but not for the other. But yeah, it's a movie. If you go in, like Anthony said, going in with expectation of some sort of like schlockiness to it, and certainly campiness, and a self-aware campiness. I'll definitely give it credit for that, which I always kind of forget when I rewatch this movie, how much it seems to know itself pretty well, or at least it seems to. So yeah, I would recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. And sort of like, if you're a horror fan, I mean, get off your ass. You got to watch this one. This is like Justin said, this is such this is such an earmark movie for the 80s, even, I would say, because it hits schlock and visual effects so hard and so well that it's kind of tough to ignore.
Tight. I'd seen this.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Anthony.
Have you seen this movie before?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares what you've seen.
I'd seen it a handful of times. It's not an annual watch for me, but it's definitely one that I've always enjoyed every time I watched it. And it's one of those movies, like Randy highlighted, it's extremely self-aware. And if you're really into practical effects and just like watching some like really cool gags on the screen, I highly recommend this. The Chiodo brothers, they're known for their practical effects. It's what they do primarily in the film industry. They lend their craft to other movies. Probably most famously, everybody has seen Elf. There's like a stop motion animation sequence in that, or there's a couple really. They did that. So I mean, they you get.
Do I hear the tinkling of little Joe Bob bells in the back of your head there, Bob?
Basically, yeah.
These are Joe Bob talking points, as I recall.
Has he done? He hasn't done this. Not that I've seen anyway. Maybe.
No, I'm pretty sure I saw him talk about this. I mean, it might have been an old video or whatever. It doesn't matter. I was just giving shit, but it's really good information. The Chiodo, I think this was their directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so.
As an outfit.
Yeah, they did a whole bunch of shorts. A lot of them were like homemade.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were jumping into trivia. I didn't know it was totally time for trivia over here.
It's not trivia if I already know it. I mean, come on.
Anyway, I recommend this movie specifically if you're way into practical effects. I'll just go ahead and wrap it up there. Sounds like a decent recommend from the Straight Chilling crew plus Anthony. Let's go ahead and drop that spoiler warning and we'll get into the rest of the movie. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
Randy got a new bump, everybody.
This guy's sound but's coming out his ass.
We're gonna hear it.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
All right, I got full-on plot synopsis I'll blast through if you'll indulge me.
Bob, I forgot to ask you, do you have this blue?
I do. Yeah, I held it up for the still for the YouTube still. So this is not a steel book, but I will go ahead and say that Arrow Video put out a really nice collector's edition of Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I highly recommend you pick it up. It's pretty affordable. You can get it for less than $20. I got this like slipcover FYE. I know you guys give me a lot of shit because I shop at FYE, but they had like a special slipcover that you can only get there, which is this right here.
I was going to say that. It's like impossible for this movie to be designed poorly. Everything that it has is like, oh God, I love the title card and everything for this movie, and then just all the covers, even that, including that one.
Oh no, Randy,
what am I off?
Please, let me show you. There's a DVD version of this that I will complain about. This is the hill I will die on. That has the worst fucking cover. If you look it up, it has this grungy, like default font, you know, it kind of this like horror carnival vibe, but it's all brown. It is the ugliest goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm. It sounds terrible.
Honestly, I've considered writing a piece that like movie covers that just blew it and had like the perfect poster art to use for the cover, but didn't. The Killer Klowns is the perfect instance of when I would
use it. It's got like a grungy saloon type face going. Is that the one? Yeah, it's just terrible.
I have it over here if you guys want to see it on camera.
Oh yeah, bro.
Sure.
Yeah. Add some value to our content, bro.
Yeah. So watch this on fucking YouTube and see me bitch.
Watch it.
See me bitch in real time. It reminds me of
like
that
the worst behind the scenes.
You guys remember that like updated cover of Near Dark, where it's like
yes, that
like
Near Dark
Twilight.
cover is the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's like,
yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah.
That looks like Twisted Metal, like the fucking video game. Like
it does look like Twisted Metal.
It's so bad, and like the original art is phenomenal. It has this gorgeous illustration of like the clown spinning the world, and then some sad illustrator or designer was like, all right, you have to remake this cover for DVD. And it feels like they just
trick people into thinking it's a modern, like hostile style torture porn or
it's awful.
It's
terrible. Yeah, that's a shame.
This Arrow video disc gives not one, not two, but three better versions of the art. This is the original art Anthony was talking about. It's kind of hard to see.
I love the original art. The original is so phenomenal.
That's the best one.
There's all kinds of shit on YouTube for this episode. Check that shit out. Also on this disc, there's like I mentioned the Chiodo brothers did a whole shitload of shorts when they were kids in the 70s, like in their backyard, and all of those shorts are bonus features on this Arrow video disc. There's
nice.
There's like 6 or 8 shorts. They're like stop motion animation, like forced perspective stuff. You can like watch them figuring stuff out in real time when they were kids. It's really fucking cool. So pick that up if you can.
Shit, I'm gonna have to stream that.
Nah. So let me blast through this synopsis real quick, and then we can get
plot synopsis.
We got an old man investigating a meteor crash only to find a glowing circus tent. He and his dog are soon greeted by murderous alien clowns who zap them with ray guns. We then meet Debbie and Mike, who are making out in the back of their car, and they also saw the meteor crash. When they investigate, they're able to get inside the tent and find corpses wrapped up in cotton candy cocoons. Debbie and Mike go tell their friend Dave about what they saw. He's a police officer, and they think maybe he can help. Chief Mooney overhears their conversation and immediately discredits their story. Dave and Mike go to investigate the tent once again. They tell Debbie that she should wait at the house until they're done. They're unable to find the tent, and Dave arrests Mike for lying to a police officer. Dave and Mike then investigate...
Which is a crime.
Right. Dave and Mike then investigate the makeout point called the Top of the World, and they find all the kids are dead. Their cars are covered in cotton candy. Chief Mooney back at the station is getting calls from everyone in town about murderous clowns. He chalks it all up to a big hoax. Dave returns to the police station to call for backup. He shoots a clown in the nose, and it explodes. This seems to be the only way to kill the clowns. Mike goes to check on Debbie with his friends, the Terrorize brothers. Debbie's abducted by the clowns and taken to the town's circus. The Terrorize brothers, Mike and Dave, follow the clowns into the funhouse, and they realize they're back inside the alien tent spaceship. The squad then finds the ship's control room, and they have to battle a giant clown. Dave pops the clown's nose with his badge, and the ship explodes. Debbie, Mike, Dave, and the Terrorize brothers all escape danger, and it begins raining confetti and pies on the town. Roll credits. Gentlemen.
Or just specifically on the heroes in the last shot, which is
that too
a hilarious end to my tastes.
Yeah.
So the best thing about this to me, were you watching it, was the visuals. It looks amazing all the way through. I mean, even the gags that they're able to. I mean, I think the problem is with me on this one. I was like, man, this is very one note. I mean, it just rides that note. But
thanks for inviting me, guys. I had a good time.
There's a ton of great gimmicks that go along with that. The popcorn guns, the balloons, the cotton candy people wrapped up, the tent, the clown car, the giant clown at the end. But I mean, it just rides it. It rides it all.
I love that about it, though. The thing is, like, this is also like a really tight movie. Like, this is like the antithesis to every movie that's come out in the past 5 years. good or bad, which is that it's tightly compacted into 90 minutes or less, maybe
86 minutes with credits.
Okay, yeah, there you go. And it's like, yeah, so having it be one note is fine, especially considering like it's one note that has there's a lot of milk. You could just milk.
Any other analogy?
No, that's the one I'm going with. That's the hill I'm dying on, the utter analogy hill.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know.
Watch YouTube to see Randy's milking skills.
Someone make that a GIF for me.
I hope so.
We have the technology, but yeah, it's I don't know. I like that about it. I can see like getting bored with it or whatever, but because of like you said, like the production value on this stuff, which is like the Chiodo brothers' whole thing, and then on top of that, like the absolutely self-aware, like silly Looney Tunes-esque plotting, I was pretty engaged with it. So yeah, I always forget just how silly it goes. Because at the beginning of the movie, they really do kind of set pretty familiar groundwork for 80s schlock, which is like some like medium acting and some like, I don't know, really silly shit going on that's not silly. It doesn't seem silly in the intentional sense, at least not directly right out of the gate, until the clowns start really showing up and start really doing like all kinds of like fucking Yosemite Sam bullshit. It's not really like, I always forget until that point that it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things I absolutely love about Killer Klowns from Outer Space is its promise of the concept. You get exactly what you'd want with a movie of that name, which I will say, and maybe this is one of my hotter takes, but I feel like a lot of 1980s films, they're kind of movies of the VHS era, right? So they sold themselves on the art and the cover alone. There's very few movies that really hold up past the cover art and the title. The only one of the others I can really think of is like Krull, this like high fantasy epic. But Killer Klowns from Outer Space, I think, really delivers on everything you'd want. You get these mummified people in cotton candy and popcorn monsters, and their spaceship is a carnival tent. You get a variety of clowns, them killing people in these silly ways.
Yeah, crawling popcorn in this movie.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that's one of the things I come back to time and time again, is just how silly it leans into everything, but how it works for it.
The balloon animal dog in the beginning of this movie fucking kills me, man.
That's like just classic clowning. That's not even like horror
sniffing out the kids. Something I never noticed before this watch was like the kids, as they're making their getaway, they get into their Jeep and they run over the balloon animal dog and kill it. And I was like, oh shit, this is basically the plot from fucking John Wick. Now these clowns are just like exacting their revenge because these fucking kids killed their dog.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's exactly the plot.
It's the exact same plot. Why are you even arguing?
I feel like there's no people in cotton candy pods or shadows eating.
You've never seen John Wick.
You haven't watched the way I watched John Wick, which is very on LSD high. Yes,
with a mouthful of shrooms, baby,
hallucinating on bath salts,
just pouring out. Damn. I don't know. Like some of my biggest critiques with this one, saying like it's one note. The gimmicks are all there. The first half of this movie, once it's established, like I like how they established the look and the aesthetic, but once they kind of start running rampant through town, I was kind of disappointed until the back half of the movie. So, I kind of wanted, I guess, more distinction between the clowns. I wanted them to almost have their own kind of distinct personalities because they have distinct looks. Like they make them look distinct, but there's nothing to really separate these things from just kind of the slapstick gimmick that they're selling you. And that was a little disappointing. That now the one difference where I could say like this is kind of more of what I wanted from that, the scene, which kind of to me is one of the best throwing this into the horror realm was the police station scene after Mooney's dead and he's got him as a puppet. I was like, damn, that's how you do that shit. Because that shit is so dark and twisted, but still sticking with that theme. It's not like, the dog getting run over, the popcorn falling around. I mean, that's some deep, sadistic shit.
And that's
a
callback from earlier in the film, too. Mooney says earlier in the film, it's like, oh, I'm not going to be anyone's puppet.
That's right.
Oh, good call.
I didn't put that together. Yeah,
I didn't either.
That is nice.
Well, let's talk about Mooney because
he's a fucking asshole.
I love him though. Like he's the standout performance in this movie for sure for me. Like everybody else in this movie is like, they're doing their thing or whatever. It's B-movie block level acting, and he's not doing much more than that. But I don't know if it's just his tenor or like his absolute commitment to being just a loathsome piece of shit. Mm-hmm. I love it. And he's like, I believe he's the actor he's like the villain in National Lampoon's Animal House as well, even though I have not seen that. I did look this up. So I believe he's got kind of like he had a cottage industry sort of being these little sort of like, fuck those kids, I'm the authority figure, sort of like bad guy villain. I think he was in Dirty Harry as well, which is a little bit different, but I don't know. I loved it. And the way
he can be in whoever he wants.
That's
dirty
true.
Or otherwise.
This is America, man. But yeah, like I think that his just like, I don't know if it's just his voice too. Like it's just so good. He's got like this Powers Booth level of like this tenor that just fucking rules, and it just sounds so pleasant to listen to.
I love how quick he is to buy into the fact that like the entire town is playing a prank on just him. He's a fucking.
Well, it's like
he's one of those cute motherfuckers.
The most pig-headed thing in the world.
Well, it's like you realize he's so hated though, because he's like, they're trying to drive me out of here. It's like you're so self-aware that you're such a piece of shit that you would think the whole town would want you out.
They're not gonna get me.
He arrests.
There's that joke from The Simpsons where like the principal is, I've changed. Like I can't keep up with the kids anymore. It's like, no, the kids have changed. I'm right.
No, yeah, it's the kids. Like, am I so out of touch? No, it's the kids who are wrong.
You're right. There you go.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. He arrests those kids
in a nutshell
for like drinking wine and hauls
not
them
even
into
drinking,
the station.
for walking.
I think there were some like homophobic undertones too.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
absolutely.
Because he like one of them had like the flock of seagulls thing, and like for better or for worse, stereotypes existed at the time. So I think he was just leaning hard into that shit.
Mm-hmm. He's also ready to beat those kids' asses while they're in the station, just like about to beat their asses. Not a good look, man.
Probably the most unrealistic thing about this movie is that the other cop tries to stop him.
I don't know about that. He also like hypothesizes that the reason Mike and like the Terenzi brothers are in on this whole gag like is to somehow to try and sell more ice cream because the Terenzi brothers have this ice cream truck. I don't know how this elaborate lie would help them sell more ice cream exactly, but this is what he believes.
Dude, speaking of like the idea of selling ice cream in the dead of fucking night from an ice cream truck, like terrible goddamn idea.
Yeah, not a great business strategy.
I don't know, Juice. What do you think? You're the ice cream expert. Would you eat ice cream at midnight?
Well,
at Makeout Point?
I don't know, man. Because at one point they did say like, "Let's go to the drive-in." I was like, "Well, maybe you like should have started there.
Probably
go to the drive-in movie." But I don't know. You're getting hot and heavy. It's summertime. You might need a little cream to cool yourself down, get a little energy back up.
There's like 8 people at Makeout Point or whatever. If all of them bought ice cream, you have $8.
Well, to be fair, they had some ladies and they were trying to get some yabos popping. So there was
for sex.
This movie is resiliently anti-yabo too. It's like we're not giving you that shit.
True.
Yeah, they tease.
PG-13.
Maybe. Yeah.
Tease a lot of yabos.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
there's a shower scene that takes half the movie,
dude.
And then
I want to point that out. That's like that's actually like the big critique I have about this movie is the not even pacing. Well, no,
yeah,
that's Justin's big complaint probably, but mine is the editing, which makes that's the most egregious like instance of it, which is that Suzanne Debbie's shower is at least 3.5 hours long in the course of this movie. And it's like they cut back to it like 4 times, and like 6 major plot points happen, or 6 major set pieces happen in the breadth of in the spaces between that time. It's like, I understand.
Maybe she was like doing laundry in between, she had to like change it out. There weren't any clothes ready. She had to get back in,
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because like the popcorn's on the clothes incubating. So can't be that. But they could have done other things.
Sounds like one of Bob's showers to me.
They could have just had her pass out on the couch for like a few hours and then be like, oh shit, I should take a shower. I'm still covered in popcorn. Like simple, solved. And there's like things like the blonde detective, or I'm not detective, cop, at one point like speculating that why don't they try and communicate? Like 10 minutes after they communicated with him and said, we just want to eat you. We just want to kill you. Excuse me. I don't know. People seem to have pretty shitty fucking memory. And also he takes no pains to explain to people, I know how to kill these things now, which is to pop their fucking noses.
And only brings one gun. I was so annoyed with that.
He waits to the very end of the movie to kill another one. Like he could just be killing them the whole time, but he just doesn't.
Well, he kills a few. He does. He just but he has a limited firepower, like Justin said, because he doesn't pick up any more. Yeah. And also it's like that, if you know the weak point, if you know that a zombie dies because you destroy the brain, you fucking tell everybody. You scream that shit from the rooftops if you can. He does none of that shit. He's like later on, he mentions it in passing. Oh yeah, I can. He's like, so what? We go in there and just kill him. He's like, yeah, I figured out how to kill him. It's fucking weird.
Also, did they give an explanation for why they cotton candied everybody except for
Debbie?
the girl?
Road snacks? I don't know.
Yeah,
Debbie and like maybe a couple others in those.
She was like the only one who got ballooned. Everybody else was. I did love too. The other thing I loved was the silly straw drinking the blood. I thought that was pretty dope.
Oh, that crazy straw was insane.
I have a fun thing about the cotton candy. So a couple of years ago, before the Panty D hit, Halloween Horror Nights brought
Panty.
Me too.
Killer Klowns from Outer Space to Halloween Horror Nights, and I picked up a canister. They were selling the Killer Klowns cotton candy.
Oh shit!
So I bought it. I never opened it. I still have it, but it's like deflated to a point where it's like a pink hockey puck.
Nice.
Just sitting in this big empty container with like a Killer Clown sticker on the front.
How was that house? I
went through it 4 times.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I'm not great with those things, and I do like to do them, but in limited amounts. And it's hard. It's difficult for me to justify going and waiting 4 hours for one walkthrough.
So the benefit is not a lot of people knew what Killer Klowns from Outer Space was. It was the first year it was there, and so it was very empty. So the first time we waited about an hour, and then the other 3 times we just basically walked in.
Oh shit, man! I missed an opportunity then.
Yeah,
that was like out of all the houses they've had, maybe ever. That was the one that was like, I'll bet that looks fucking great.
They did the whole Mooney scene. They did the T-Rex hand puppet scene.
Nice.
They did Clownzilla at the end.
Nice.
Did they do like that little walkway with the Tim Burton things? I was sitting there thinking like, I'll bet that somebody was at Universal was watching this, and this is the moment they decided, oh shit, we need to make a house of this. Yeah, because this is a deep pull for them to do that.
I think the Chiodo brothers were there opening night of Halloween Horror Nights to introduce the house, and John Massari, the composer, was also there with them, and they had the theme song playing as you kind of walked through as well.
I have something to say about the theme song, which is hilarious, and I hope she doesn't kill me for saying this. But I was watching this. Becky was kind of like half watching. She was doing a little work on her computer, and when the theme song was playing or whatever, she asks me, and I swear to God, she said this exactly and sincerely. She said, "Is this Queen?" No, this is not Queen.
It's a band called the Dickies, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well have asked like, "Fucking, is this Liberace?" No, of course not. This is like this is clearly 80s like hair metal-y fucking theme song, and it says "Killer Klowns" like in the lyrics multiple times. I don't think
maybe
Queen
she
went
was
that direction.
Thinking Killer Queen. I don't know.
Whoa, Randy!
I asked her, and she was like, I don't know. It just kind of sounds like him. I was like, I don't know how you confuse anybody for fucking
like
Mercury. But.
just kind of.
You dumb
That's what
piece of shit.
It's not like Greta
Now
Van
that she's
Fleet
been
and Van
fully-
Halen. It's
Now that she's been fully shamed, I love you.
How could you even think it?
No. It's just such a weird thing. It's like, oh shit, is this Limp Bizkit? No. What?
Closer.
If only, huh, Bob?
It's closer.
Killer Clowns right here. Yeah. I can't. Oh,
There was a disappointing scene, talking about how I like the second half much better. There was a disappointing scene where there's like the little girl and she sees the clown outside the McDonald's or whatever. I don't know where they're eating. And he's like very menacingly like gesturing to her, and she's like almost makes it out there, and she doesn't. But I was like, nobody else sees this clown. And also it just felt like a huge blue balls for some like dope horror to go on. I felt like the whole I just felt like the whole first half was like too silly, and then all the dark stuff comes in the second half. Whereas I liked where they set up like exploring the tent where the guy goes in, his dog gets taken. You're like, oh no, not the dog. The guy gets taken. He's discovered in the cotton candy. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm onto this. And then everything from there up until, I don't know, maybe the Mooney scene. It's just kind of like silly. It just kind of keeps going. And I think, again, the pacing with the editing where it's like, and here's a shower scene that's not doing anything. Well, there's just like throw in some random scenes and it's all just kind of disconnected for a while, but there's not really a lot of story that's actually going on. It's just like all these just random clown scenes and then a shower scene and a clown scene and a shower scene. And it's just like they lean in that silliness. And then I'm like, okay, I want to go. Like take me where we're going. And it just like seems to take too long.
I can see your point. I love like that. Probably my favorite part is this sequence of just set pieces of clowns doing clowny shit that kills people. I really love that because it's Tex Avery bullshit. It's nonsense. And I love that. But you're right. Like the idea that it's like any horror element in there is pretty slight for a while. So I think you're right. Like with the editing, it would have been nice to see a little bit more like of the ventriloquist Moonies or the creepy clown by a little girl or something. Like, I don't know, see a few more of those, or at least something that was comedic but also had that edge to it as well, because that's possible. Like they did that to some extent all the way through whenever they did scary things. So some macabre shit, some Hitchcockian fucking dark humor, they have that in this movie, certainly just in its premise it is, but I feel like they could have done more. They could have had a few more fangs in there. I agree with that part.
There was like a really easy, like simple scene where they're not driving the clown car, but one of the clowns is in like a straight up invisible car going down the road, and he like runs another motorist off the street, and he like goes down a cliff and dies. Just, I don't know, something about that scene like really stuck with me. And then you finally do see like the actual clown car, just like the many ways that they're like just so creative in creating these kills and like tailoring them specifically to like clown kills. The shadow puppets, like definitely one of my favorite scenes, with like the T-Rex eating the people. Before Mooney dies, he gets shot in the face with like a little flower, sprays water in his face. The clown's just kind of like playing with his food at that point. The popcorn that just like evolves into these tiny little
biker gang. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite scenes.
Fucking biker gang. You want to talk about it, Anthony? Tell us about it. What happened?
Oh, I just love the back and forth rapport of the bikers giving the clown shit. And it's like, oh, can I play with your bike? And then just like, what's that game called? The two robots boxing.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
Yeah. Just fucking Rock'em Sock'em Robots' his head off into the sky.
I
so
good.
good.
That. I won't lie.
It's fun. It's very fun. But I think too, it's definitely like it's a double-edged sword, right? Where like, it's definitely kind of playing more on that horror comedy element, definitely. But it's also with a name like Killer Klowns from Outer Space, how much can you expect from it? So going in with low expectations and what it delivers, not saying that it doesn't deliver whatsoever. I think it absolutely does. I think there's a certain, I guess, a headspace to kind of have when you're grappling with something on this caliber.
Well, see, that's a good point, Anthony, because another kind of critique that I had, or something that I thought was just kind of a strange choice for something that for the first half did seem to want to pick up that horror comedy tone more. I agree there. And I thought it was very strange that they didn't rely on the brother characters to kind of also bring that through in the character element, because the three characters that we mostly follow through the first half of this film and through most of the film, but specifically like they're really driving this first half, are so fucking vanilla and not interesting that I was so happy by the time the brothers got there. But again, it was in the second half. And so again, the second half of the movie is so solid. You have even more of those interesting set pieces, even more of those interesting horror gimmicks, but they throw that horror edge in there and they bring that comedy level more through with the not clown characters, like the human characters. And it felt more, I guess, cohesive. I was like, okay, here's the movie I wanted to get to. It's right here. And like, I just had to wait about 30 minutes to get there.
It feels like the first half of this film, I'll definitely agree, is like the scene in Scooby-Doo where they're all running through the different doors, just kind of tailing one another. And then the later half definitely kind of gets things going. It's interesting though that you say that, because I feel like most time people take issue with like the later half of a film, right? Like usually the first half of the film for people tends to be the stronger, and then the second half kind of falls off because it can't deliver well. In this case, it's the opposite. So I guess I would say that's a plus, as well as like it only gets better the longer you kind of watch it.
Yeah, I think this movie really is about the effects, and you don't want to front load the movie with effects. You want to save some of that for the ending and make it like really impactful, stick the landing, so to speak. So it sort of makes sense that the first half is going to be a little more slow or more boring than the second half is for a movie like that. Anyways, it makes sense.
Yeah. Except I disagree, because I think the thing that's most consistent through this movie is the effects. Because, you know, in the first half, when they're doing those gimmicks, that's where you get the T-Rex. That's where you get the guy riding the bike. That's where you get the invisible car. So I do feel like, if anything, the effects are consistent, but it sticks with the vanilla characters through that first half. We don't get a lot of the brothers. They like set them up, but we don't see a lot of them until they kind of go toward the spaceship. And then we don't get any of that kind of horror element. They're really playing out that silly aspect. So I would almost say that the gimmicks are like the only thing that's like really keeping me interested in this first half, which are solid, I think.
I will say though, if we're going to talk about the effects for a moment, like the matte paintings in this are awesome. I feel like a lesser film would have kind of hid the inside of the ship, but you see it almost immediately. And you're going through these corridors and you're getting these gorgeous like matte paintings of almost like the inside of the Death Star core, right? Where it's hollow.
Yeah, exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. But covered in like pink and, green. What were you going to say, Andy? I cut you off.
Oh no, it was on a different topic, but I want to chime in on that and agree. Like that whole like, they don't just show the inside of this thing right away. They show the inside of this thing right away, and then just keep building on it. There are a ton of rooms.
Like it feels way bigger than what you'd ever anticipate.
Right, which like in any other movie, like of this era that would have like been aiming for this audience that was less effects driven or was more of a money grab or whatever, they definitely would have skimped on that shit. 1,000%, and they do not skip on a goddamn thing in this movie.
Which, the Chiodos are like known for their effects, so that's definitely where they, kind of hit their stride.
Right. So I mean, it's promises delivered pretty much throughout the whole movie. I will agree with Justin though that like the three main characters are pretty forgettable in their own right.
Fair enough.
The Mike character has got big Ricky from Sleepaway Camp energy for me. He just kind of sounds. And
big Ricky energy.
Yeah, but he's not a cussing little kid, so the charm's gone. I don't know. I do like the brothers okay, but I don't know that I would want a lot more of them. I just wish that the other characters besides them and Mooney lived up to that level. or they gave it like since the three central characters. I know they're point of view characters, but you could have had just Suzanne be the point of view character, or just Officer Dipshit be the point of view character. But no, you have fucking all three of these guys being pretty on the, like, I don't know. They start off being schlocky characters or whatever, but by the end they're like, they're making like mostly sound decisions, with the exception of forgetting major things like how to kill them and shit. But like they're acting like normal human beings for the most part. And it's like, as the silliness of around them ramps up, they just sort of start dragging that down. Like I don't know. That's probably one of my bigger complaints as well. But Mooney, I love that fucking character.
Mooney is fantastic and easily the most memorable character in this movie. The Terenzi brothers are memorable specifically because they're driving around in an ice cream truck. If they didn't have that vehicle, I don't know that they'd be any more memorable than anyone else in this movie.
They do have a bit of like interplay between them, which is
kind of.
They do.
Not super distinctive, but they're a little bit of something.
Yeah, not really. They don't stick out to me too much. I don't know.
No. I think that might just be like one of the fault of this film, is that to me they're the most interesting characters, but they're still, they are kind of in themselves one note. It's just nobody else is really doing anything. So
I was going to say, don't they get laid by like bunch of like a couple of clown women in a hot tub and come back with giant smooch marks,
kisses all over their face? Yeah, I loved how the Yabos were getting bigger like balloons or whatever.
They're blowing the fuck up like balloons, and they're like, "Are you Debbie's roommates?" It's like, come on, man.
No.
Yeah, these clown women in a fucking spaceship are definitely your friends' roommates.
So, Soju, would you be more interested in the brothers if they were selling banh mi sandwiches instead of ice cream?
Ooh, nope. I think they hit the perfect mark with the.
Oh, not like a PB&J banh mi. You wouldn't.
You can't sling banh mi out of the back of a clown.
What if it was crunchy, like Crunchy Jif?
Let me run this by you. How about
rigatoni?
I'm not allowing it.
A rigatoni truck?
A rigatoni truck?
I'd be there.
People need energy. Carbo load.
Yeah. Is there a way we can make a rigatoni ice cream?
I mean, if I have an ice cream maker, so if you can dream it, I can do it.
Sure, I guess.
You have to eat it though. I do not.
What can we do?
Straight chillin' spash ice cream.
Just noodles and ice
cream mixed with like Prego and fucking rigatoni ass.
Yep. That's a carbo load right there. Holy shit.
That's some Iron Chef America bullshit.
That's some fuck fuel.
You're making Guy Fieri cream his shorts.
They would have sold out on the old Makeout Hill up there.
That's right. We got a carbo load, girl.
Ricotta cream.
I can go 10 more times. Yeah, carbo load.
Check, please.
Dude, I don't know. I loved a lot about this. And a lot, like, there's nothing in terms of like the setting or the monsters or the amount of monsters that we get that I have a big problem with. I really loved like things like the clown pretending to be one of the robot clowns or whatever, which is like something that happens pretty early on. That's something that I wanted to point out too in general, is just the clowns have this very like cartoonish understanding of pop culture they should not understand. They understand that you could just act like this robot and people won't bat an eye because they think you're a robot because clowns, like they know how to. Not only are they just generally themed like clowns, and they speculate that maybe that's where the idea of clowns came from and all that shit, but they also like know how to run people off the road and shit. Like they have, I don't know.
They deliver pizza.
That's true.
I don't know. They deliver pizza. Yeah. Like, well, how do you know?
And dress as firefighters.
Yeah. They're there for like one-off jokes, which is very much where the Looney Tunes things comes in. Anything like reality bends to the whims of the jokes in this movie, which can backfire really easily. But in this movie, it just doesn't, because it's so, I don't know what it is, actually. I honestly don't know if I can pinpoint exactly what it is that makes it work really well for this.
I think it's the loose ties. I think it's like there's no stakes. Like you go in, I mean, why would they look like clowns? Why would they have a circus tent spaceship, and I know that they even kind of try to like brush away of like, well, maybe this is where we get the idea from clowns or whatever. As if they had visited before, but I just think it's such low stakes.
They're the ancient aliens.
If anything, that's the good thing this movie does is it sets up like what to expect. And so I'm actually really glad we covered this because I'm in my final score. I'm going to reference a movie we covered not just a few weeks ago that had a lot more problems with. And I think the one thing about this one is it sets up the expectations really well and it delivers them in a very respectable way to where even if it's not your particular flavor or like brand of horror, it's still like pretty easy to watch and get into. Now, not everyone's like going to agree about that, but I feel like they deliver on the promises they set up and they don't try to like deliver or they don't try to promise too much. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would say if you're a fan of like Beetlejuice or like Murder Party, like you would probably enjoy this.
I agree with that.
Yeah, totally.
Like if you like any fucking like early
if you like movies, you'll like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
If you have
flickering images that simulate movement.
Anything else we want to mention before we go ahead and rate Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
We covered everything.
Every
fine-tooth comb.
I absolutely love the score for this as well. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of lands in on like the kind of promise of the premise kind of thing. But I feel like they really nail it. I don't know if you guys know, but a couple years back, I talked to John Massari, the composer of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Very sweet guy. And he made like a very obvious kind of World War II Nazi pull while the clowns were storming the streets. So he wanted to kind of do this like stomping in intensity kind of war music. He's super funny, super great. They just did a Killer Clowns revisited soundtrack where they kind of boosted some of the orchestra and some of the compositions. But I really love the music in this.
Wants to do Flight of the Valkyrie, but like every 12 seconds you hear
Randy got a new bump. Check it out.
Milking them udders, baby. Milking them udders.
Yep.
We got a couple gifts to make tonight, boys.
For sure. I agree with you, Anthony. The soundtrack for this is baller, and that theme song gets stuck in my head.
Oh, yeah.
It'll just pop into my head randomly, like throughout the year. I haven't seen this, in months, and it'll just pop into my head. And like, fucking, it's an earworm. I definitely dig it quite a bit.
It's also catchy as fuck, yeah.
Yeah, it is extremely catchy. There's another bonus feature on this Arrow video disc where they talk to the Dickies, and they get into like how they wrote and recorded this song. And the finished product that's actually on the movie was the demo they cut, and I guess like everybody involved in the movie just loved it so much they're like, no, you guys are done, thanks. Like, we're taking that one. Good job.
But I can imagine as the Dickies though, you'd be like, no, this isn't the finished product. And you're like, oh no, we're good.
They
Keep
got
those
paid.
hedges unsanded. Unfinished wood, please.
The Dickies, they love it raw.
They do.
Whoa.
No bags.
Oh baby, they like raw.
Yeah, let's go ahead and rate Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Out of 5, Anthony, you are the esteemed guest tonight. Why don't you kick us off, man? How do you feel?
So much pressure. So much pressure.
Sexualize Anthony that time. Good.
Yeah, progress.
I tried.
Progress, Rob. I really love Killer Clowns from Outer Space, if it wasn't obvious already. I think it delivers on so many different levels. The acting, not the best. I wholeheartedly agree. It's not a straight up horror flick, and I'll wholeheartedly agree there as well. But if you can kind of dig the campy humor, the crazy, fun, practical effects, leaning into like the diversity of like matte paintings and just cell shaded paintings. I think all of it's so phenomenal. I think it kind of lives in my heart forever, just as this fun thing that exists. And I'm glad this movie exists. I think my life would probably be a little less sad without it, But out of 5, that's a tough one. I feel like I'm going to have to give it a 4 just on enjoyability alone.
Solid. A 4 from our boy Anthony. Juice, why don't you go next? Out of 5, how do you feel?
Okay, so the movie I wanted to kind of compare this to was Blood Diner. We covered Blood Diner recently. I had a lot of problems with that and rated it really low.
I was worried you wanted to go back to the Godzilla versus Kong. Well,
me too, actually. That's what I thought.
Really? No, this is the movie that I want to compare it to because similar times and I think similar like ideas. Like that was like a horror comedy, very schlocky. But this one I respect a ton. So what I will say about this is it's not always the flavors that I personally enjoy. But even in the times where I'm like, okay, I don't want this to be so silly personally, or this is like so heavy handed, like 80s style or whatever. There's something to respect in every scene, whether it be the effects, how something looks, or at least how it's set up. The expectations, I feel like, are set up very well. So even in those bumps, or those like flavors that I'm not like really digging on, it's still like pretty easy to get through this movie and to find something enjoyable in almost every scene that I'm in. Does it have problems? The things I've mentioned before, mainly like that first section, where it's just kind of like worse editing, not in there, really heavy on the silly. It's not really like my bag. I do think that the editing could be improved. Like the gimmicks that they're throwing at me though, like the popcorn and the T-Rex and the even like little bike scene. So there's things to get me through, even when, you know, I'm kind of down on it. I respect the hell out of it. It looks fantastic. The set pieces, the gimmicks are clever, even though I do think they're pretty one note. They are very clever. I wish that they could have made the clowns kind of more clever in that way too. I think that was kind of my hope. It's like, there's all these gimmicks like the balloons and the cotton candy and stuff. I wish they could have added a little bit of that spice into the clowns themselves, because for me, they came off a little like one note just within them. They weren't particularly distinct. Even though they had distinct looks, I was like, I want something more here. The characters aren't particularly great. They get the job done for what this kind of movie is, but that could have been improved. Overall, though, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5.
A 3 out of 5 from old Lucy Juicy. All right.
Super Lucy.
So loose. I'm gonna
Bob, you want to go next?
That's how you describe your stools, huh, Bob?
Negative, sir. They are high and tight.
He wishes.
High and tight. Just blasting torpedoes into the sky.
High and tight. All right, Bob, out of 5, what you got?
I dig this movie quite a bit. This was part of my sort of poll pick month like takeover. I went with a theme for alternative aliens, and this turned out to be the winner. I've always enjoyed this movie. I dig that this is sort of like riffing on these like 50s science fiction movies, and it's sort of like, where's that influence on its sleeve? You know, we've got that classic sort of like make-out point where all the kids are, you know, they're all parked in their cars and like necking. There's like a couple smaller sequences that take place in like a diner. The cops and the kids are just running around town trying to figure out what's going on, and you know, instead of people being like body snatched and like, you know, being cloned, they're being like wrapped up in cotton candy and taken back to the spaceship for, you know, snacks later on, basically. I'm definitely a big fan of the effects in this. It's what the movie's about, and I don't think the Chiodo brothers make any bones about that. They sort of put that out there on the forefront, and they're like, hey, show up for the effects, and they deliver. There's a lot of like fun stuff. There's a couple like spooky sequences. I thought it was like brilliant how the clowns never really talk. The only line that you really get is via Detective Mooney whenever he's being used as a puppet, in which they deliver that one creepy ass fucking line. You know, don't worry, we just want to kill you. Like, what a line to choose. Like, if the clowns are going to say one line of dialogue, like, fucking well done. Bravo. That one scene is, like, genuinely chilling. I think they pulled that off perfectly. There's a sequence towards the end that's, like, a little bit gory as well, where they show up to the little town carnival, and there's a security guard, and they pie the shit out of him, but the pies are like acidic, and they melt his body down, and you just see like a pile of bones laying on the ground. I thought that was a really cool scene as well. Also very effective. Generally speaking, it's not super horrific outside of those couple scenes, really. But there's a lot of goofs. There's solid gags. We've kind of been through them all. I think what this movie promises, Anthony, like you mentioned, it delivers. If you're not into that, I totally understand. There's barely a plot here to speak of, and the characters really are just carrying you from like gag to gag. It really is what they're doing. But I dig that. I really appreciate that. I dig the craft of this movie, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 as well. Randy, how you feel about Killer Klowns from Outer Space?
This movie, like it has the opposite of diminishing returns every time I see it. Every time I see this movie, I'm charmed more and more. And it's kind of over the years sort of started to occupy the same space in my head as like a Little Shop of Horrors, where it's an effects-driven horror comedy. That is like way too close to my heart to ever be superseded by any means. But it kind of just, they live in the same world for me. They're very effects-driven, and that sort of carries you through some things that I would normally be more harsh on. Like say you're like in this movie's case, it lacks the charisma from the lead actors. It only really has charisma, in my opinion, from Mooney, and he is really bringing it, and I love him for it. But even the brothers, they're not really doing super much for me. Like they have their joke or whatever, and they do one thing of consequence throughout the course of the movie, and that's it. And I'm grateful for them being there to bring some sort of interest to the ragtag group. But if they weren't there and they just made them lead characters more charismatic in their own right, or less staid and less uptight. Anyway, so like that was a little meandering, but I really do like this movie. I think it's very charming. It is promises delivered, absolutely, unquestionably, and it's done so in a way that's not dated too terribly, with the exception of a few jokes that maybe aren't as funny as they used to be to people. I think that it increases in its value as time goes on, because it's such a unique pivot point of a movie. And I really liked what Anthony said about it being like goes beyond the cover, which is very much, like of the time, and still to this day, people trying to sell things based on the marketing campaign, even though it's a piece of shit and they know it. They're polishing up turds. In this movie, they don't polish up a turd. They polish up something fucking beautiful, and they put it out there, and it's fucking great. And I love the Looney Tunes aspect. I love so much about this movie, but the editing and the central character actors, and I agree with some of Justin's criticisms to the effect that it could have done with a few more teeth in there, kind of sprinkled throughout. Those are my big complaints, though, and it's hard for me to write off that enjoyment as anything less than what it is, which is overpowering. And I would say that this is a 4-star for me as well.
Nice. 4 stars from Randy is going to put our aggregate at a nice 3.75. Let's go ahead.
2 stars from Randy? That's crazy.
Incorrect. Let's go ahead and jump over into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users think about Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
Certified fresh dead.
All right, everybody. What we have here is the Rotten Tomatoes segment, where I'm going to ask these folks, to the best of their ability, to guess what the aggregate scores of both critics and users on RottenTomatoes.com is. That's a bad way of phrasing that, but we're going to roll with it. So we're going to start with our critics review. There are only 24 reviews listed in the critics section for this one. Pretty common for movies that predate this website. So we'll start with Anthony as our guest. Why don't you tell us what you think the critics aggregate will be out of 100%, 0 to 100?
Oh man, I feel like it's low. Like, I don't know. Like, anyone reviewing this, I would hope would know why they're reviewing this. I don't know. I'm gonna put it like a 73, maybe
73. The fact that you think that's low,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm also trying to be generous too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
73. You're in the books, baby. All right. Bob, we'll go to you this time. Where are you at with this movie? Where are the critics at, rather?
Like it's probably lower than that. I'll go with a comedy number of 69, please.
Oh, shit.
69 dudes.
69 dudes and 0 yabos.
69
All right.
is in play.
Juice, what's your number?
I
Cannot touch this thing. I keep touching the mic and I have to stop.
I don't know. Man, it really could swing either way because I feel like this movie has such a reputation. And I guess it really depends on kind of when these reviews came out, I guess. I think like even Randy was saying it would probably get better with time, I would assume. So I'll just take like a high end and I'll say that's too high. I was going to do the Project 86. I'll do 82.
A joke for just us. 82. Okay. All right. So let's see. 82. Yeah. Anthony, you're going to take this one, my friend. This is actually 75% positive.
Oh, fuck yeah.
75.
Nice.
So shy of certified, according to their metrics, or maybe it's because of the number of reviews, but it's a positively felt film on this website with the critics.
What's the critic consensus?
Critics' consensus reads as follows. Killer Klowns from Outer Space's title promises darkly goofy fun, and more often than not, the movie delivers.
Anthony Darrington, Ghoulish Media. Dude, could you fucking imagine that?
You are the aggregate critic. Call me consensus.
Hey, Anthony. Hell yeah.
Wow. You didn't want it, but
hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh, brother. You and me got 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Do go on, please.
Are you about to wrestle fucking Spider-Man in the ring? All right.
Man.
We're gonna go in reverse here. We're gonna go in reverse here for our audience score. There are over 25,000 reviews from the critics, from the users. I mean, so significantly more as is usual. Let's go with Juice to start. What are you feeling for the users?
I don't know. I feel like this one could be lower because I feel like people might be kind of pissed off if they get showed this movie. It's to me, they're very strong flavors, and I know you guys are all into it, but I could see where people would not be into this.
It's mostly Neapolitan. Yeah.
Becky sure wasn't a fan.
Yes.
She wasn't she just wasn't interested, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, to your point.
She heard Queen and was out.
It's like,
Freddie
Mercury.
Yeah.
I'm not your best friend.
I'm gonna say like 60.
60. All right. I believe Bob would be in reverse order in the middle again.
Bo Bear.
I'm the middleman. I think it's higher than 60. I'm gonna get nuts. Let's get nuts. I'm gonna take 80%.
All right, Michael Keaton.
Want to go nuts?
Want to get nuts? All right. Anthony, where you at?
I have to go higher with this. I feel like if you're a man of the people, then I'm going to put an 80 on this one.
Oh, well, Bob just gave it an 80.
81.
So $81.
Thanks
for listening. I was going to say, I thought when you said you were going to go higher, I have to go higher. I thought you were going to go incrementally higher to 100%.
80.1.
Well,
wow.
Interestingly enough, Soju, finger on the pulse. This is a 59%. So just a single dollar off.
You're all wrong.
And also, yeah, I was shocked by that because this seems like a crowd pleaser movie to me, but I guess Justin's got his finger on the pulse with that. I guess
you guys are doing your own bubble.
Hey, you know what? I love my bubble. Fuck you. Get out of my bubble.
My finger's on the bean, boys. I know what's going on here.
Now spin it around a little bit. Spin it around a little bit. Give it a little tap, and it'll be good. All right.
I got a blast.
I know how people are feeling. Fingers right on the bean, boy.
Yeah.
I got my finger on the bean is the most grotesque, disgusting adaptation of that phrase I could imagine.
Unsubscribe.
We're going to get arrested.
Anyway,
We're going to get arrested.
Here's a random negative review, as we always do, because they're typically funnier. I'm going to pick the first one with a quote, negative review with a quote. A few more eerie moments could have offset the hokiness. The body count is high, but the gore is too limited, which actually I fully agree with that. Like, based on, like, that's what I was tending to agree with Justin when he was saying that similar thing. Chiodo takes an alien invasion plot familiar from the 50s and makes it all his own by rigorously and liberally painting it with every clown reference imaginable. Yeah. Also accurate. Yeah.
That's a negative one?
These are negative
that
quotes.
Sounded like a positive review to me.
I guess it depends on how you feel about clowns. So yeah, that's our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Good job, Anthony and Soju, respectively.
Good team. Good job, Randy. Way to host that segment.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Hey, you did a really good job.
You know, I tried, you know. Mm-hmm. Hell.
Tight. Let's go ahead and get into some trivia.
It's totally time for trivia.
Take it away, Juice.
It's totally time.
What? Say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Dude, I am
it's
having
totally what?
so much trouble.
It's totally what? What is it?
It's totally time for trivia.
You. Nice.
Maybe I'm stupid. All right. The $2 million budget went primarily on production costs. The clowns and visual effects were created almost entirely by the filmmakers at very little cost. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to cut the cost for sure.
They were like the best looking parts, though. I mean, damn.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I'm not that I'm complaining at all.
Yeah, there was a very famous rap group that sampled some dialogue from this film in their song called "The Staleness" off their album, which I won't name because that might give it away. But it came out in 2002. So let's see if we can all guess which.
Let me dig in my deep repertoire of rap groups that I know
from
offhand.
2002 that sampled this movie. What could you think? It's thematically appropriate.
Is it the Fat Boys?
Is it?
Oh, it's ICP.
The Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, it's ICP.
Thanks for the hint.
Yeah, they sampled some dialogue from this film for The Staleness off their 2002 Joker's Card album. All right. Cool.
I can't imagine, like, man, the Fanta fueled fucking.
It's Fago.
Oh, Fago. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Let's get it right.
Hey, I'm just trying to save your ass, okay? The Juggalos don't fuck around.
No, speaking of, I've actually heard some, like, over the years, the Juggalos have kind of chilled out, and they're pretty fucking cool now.
Yeah, because their fucking music isn't relevant anymore. That's why.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
my God. If they weren't pissed before, I think maybe that's the problem. Yeah, maybe the problem isn't
chilling.
What are a bunch of clowns going to do? Fucking jokesters.
Whoop, whoop. Or that's what they say, right?
Baby.
Do they say whoop, whoop? Womp,
They
Yeah, they do say
whoop whoop.
All right.
Womp womp. No, that's something else entirely.
I don't know.
I do believe that was a gaffe politically, but go on.
I'm a poser.
The giant king clown from the ending sequence, affectionately known as Clownzilla, was played by one of the directors, Charles. What's their last name?
Chiodo.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Charles, what if we told you you're the biggest clown in this movie?
Damn.
I imagine he'd say thank you.
Yep. Body count. Do you think it is above or below the number 25? Ghoulish Media.
I'm going to say below. I'm going to say below.
Below 25. Bob, do you think it's higher or lower than 25?
This is a tricky question. I'm not. It's above. I'll just go above.
Okay, Randy.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say for sure because I don't know. This is always a question because do you count all the cotton candies as each an individual person?
Too, yeah.
But even without that, this is a pretty damn high count. I think I'm gonna go with above.
Okay. According to this trivia, body count at least 40. So I guess it's kind of up there too. It's like, I don't even know if they're counting the cotton candy or not. But I mean, they tear up the town. I mean, like at least 5 people get eaten by that T-Rex or something.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Count the dog? Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, the pups. He was the first one to go. I think that's you know what? One more. The first day of recording, the music score for Killer Klowns took place on Halloween, October 31st, 1987. Hell skeet, Bob. Yeah.
What is that? I'm unclear as to what that was supposed to indicate to us.
Halloween.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure. Yeah. Because
pumpkins.
Hey, Rob, do you remember Halloween?
I remember Halloween. I always do.
Oh my God. Is that Danzig over there?
Surprise, motherfuckers. This is Danzig.
Pumpkins.
You never knew. Pumpkins. Juice, do you mind if I supplement your trivia with a few little nugs real quick?
The Blu-ray owners chiming in.
Yeah, I mind. Let's go ahead and go.
Mr. Baby Blue over here.
I'll see myself out. I got a tour with the Misfits.
I think it's time to go hunting.
Got some large clown shoes to fill.
Apparently so.
I'm just kidding, Bob.
Tell us
Go ahead.
Thank you. The original title for this movie was Killer Klowns, but the filmmakers added the words "from outer space" to keep people from thinking it would be a slasher movie. The most expensive gag in the whole movie was the popcorn gun, which included a compressor that would actually launch popcorn. It cost $7,000 to create.
I think you could make it for a lot less.
Could you not just use a leaf blower? A carefully disguised leaf blower?
Impossible.
I feel like that was a misuse of funds.
But also, if $7,000 was the most expensive thing in this movie, like for one thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
True. And
it blows my mind they were able to make everything else look so incredible. And they're like, how do we make popcorn shoot out of a gun?
How do you make popcorn fly?
Apparently it cost $7,000.
The bean counter, soju finger on the bean counter over here has really figured that one out.
Yeah, that's what that means.
The Chiodo brothers wanted to cast comedian Soupy Sales as the security guard killed by the clown's acidic pies, because I guess that was his gag, getting hit by pies. The film's original finale included Deputy Dave dying in the explosion, but through test screenings, the audience requested a more upbeat ending. 2 of the masks that were used to create the clowns in this film were repurposed and used to portray trolls in the 1991 film Ernest Scared Stupid.
Huh. Okay.
The Chiodo brothers were planning on making a sequel to this film. The initial release date was scheduled for 2012. Obviously, it has been postponed. That has not worked out. Like the original film, Stephen Chiodo was going to be the director and Charles Chiodo is set to produce. The production was going to take place, obviously, over 30 years after the release of the original movie, which would be credited as the longest gap in the release of films in a horror comedy film series ever.
It's very specific.
It is.
Everything's a fucking record if you get granular enough about it.
Extremely specific. It's basically they were developing a movie, a sequel for a while. It turned into a trilogy in 4 parts, so 4 movies total.
A quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy, yeah. And he says it was going to follow the continuing adventures of new people who are experiencing this phenomenon of a clown invasion. And once in a while, you'd see some of the older people from the original movie pop up and tell their stories about what happened over the past 30 years or so. The proposed title for the sequel was going to be Return of the Killer Klowns from Outer Space in 3D.
Fuck yeah.
On October 22nd, 2018, Sci-Fi picked it up. Apparently, they picked that up and Critters, and they were going to develop a series for Killer Klowns and for Critters. However, it still has not happened. As of August 2019, after the acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney, it was revealed that Fox intended to develop a sequel to Killer Klowns from Outer Space, but Disney squashed it, along with over 200 other titles. So thanks a lot, fucking Disney. The mouse killed the clown, and I'm fucking pissed off about it.
I'm not sure that this is the movie that needs an Avatar treatment, though, of 35 sequels.
I mean,
I'm not sure if it can support.
I think a solid trilogy, I could die happy.
Oh yeah.
I think a solid sequel, just a singular sequel with modern parlance going on, could have been perfect.
Yeah,
but nobody
It's
asked
just-
my ass, and they won't. So.
listen, if we can get the fucking Snyder cut thing,
Oh my God!
We
Yeah, we just
can
need to
do
get a bunch of
anything.
people with
Anything.
nothing to do to all scream at once. for fucking
release the
years.
Chiodo cut, the Chiodo sequel.
We want it. We need it.
We
Gentlemen,
also need that Mummy Yabos cut too. So let's go ahead and throw this all in here. Let's get a
Oh,
petition
yeah,
going for all
Yabos.
these things.
You guys should do a new gag. How many Blu-rays does Rob have, and could he afford a sequel to Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Well, he's got at least $7,000 worth. I can tell you that,
He can make a popcorn
Hey,
gun.
a
I'll tell you
popcorn
that.
gun. There you go.
dude. You're already putting money down on a safe investment of a sequel to this movie.
this sounds like a rehash. We've been there, Anthony. We've done it. I don't want a sequel, but I do kind of want a sequel to Killer Clown. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
It sounds
I'll-
like
Are
got
you
over
calling
it
a
now.
cootie queen, you lint liquor?
I think it's time to go hunting, gentlemen's.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the week.
It was like a little bit of Trapped with like a little bit of corn in there. Like,
yeah.
what the fuck was happening?
You're
They're
welcome,
describing
Anthony.
bowel movements.
Juice, what is a cooter? Why do we hunt them?
A cooter is a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter, and we want the cooter with the most points for Cooter of the Week. 5 points are sexual deviance, smug arrogance, manipulation, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Anthony, you are our guest. Would you like to hunt the first cooter today, sir, and give us a name and maybe a point to go with it?
That was a very rough transition. I'm just going to point that out.
Nice.
I feel like my first thought maybe the brothers from the ice cream fam. They were like trying to kind of seduce these women with ice cream and basically bargain them for sex.
Mm-hmm.
They were just kind of like driving up to make out point and like bothering all these people. That's a little odd.
Juice.
Yeah. Let's see. We could give them. I mean, can we
Sexual
give them anything
deviancy?
other? Yeah, sexual deviance.
For trying.
I guess. I
mean,
I don't know.
They're plying
did
women with ice cream bars. I
Yeah,
think
they're
that's more pathetic
trying.
than
They're
deviant.
trying pretty hard. They never actually get anything going, though, do they?
No, they do with
Nah.
some fucking space
clown.
alien
Yeah.
clowns.
Alien clowns. They stoop
Their
that
shit
low.
is all ripped up.
Yeah, that's true. It is all fucked up.
I think I can't tell if that was something they wanted or not. It seemed like it, but it's all off camera.
I myself was thinking Mr. Mooney.
Yep.
I was going that direction as well.
Yeah, but
Because,
I don't
well,
know if he
the arrogance
gets
is-
enough.
I don't know.
Smug
either.
arrogance
Smug
is
arrogance,
his strongest for sure.
Manipulation.
I would
He doesn't really try. He thinks he's being manipulated, but he doesn't.
Well, I mean,
Smart.
which I would give
falsely-
pathetic.
I was
Yeah,
saying
I would definitely.
he falsely arrests those kids and then threatens to beat their asses. I mean, that's like, I don't know if that's full on manipulation, but he's abusing his power,
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
He's abuse of power. I don't know.
A
where that
manipulation
falls on
of
the
power?
manipulation spectrum.
Yeah. there-
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Thanks,
Manipulate.
We'll bend
yeah.
that. We'll bend that.
He's manipulating a Jack Daniels bottle. Welcome. No, he's also drinking on the job and like, oh, everybody wants to play one over on me, huh? Well, fuck them. I don't need
It
them
seems
or
like
whatever
a
he says.
huge,
Like,
pathetic kind of piece of shit
Yeah.
to just not do your job. Literally, the whole town's calling you for help, and you don't do your damn job.
I mean, yeah, if you're in that position as a police officer and you just don't respond, like even people that you know and trust, like the shop owner calls him and he's like, you're in on it too, huh? Well, fuck yeah, I don't need you. Or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I struggle to find a third point though here because looking at Tyre, he's just in a cop uniform. Manipulation is, I mean, you could say that, but it's still a little bit on the edge for me because I just don't know if it fit that word exactly. Sexual deviance, and there's nothing sexual about him really. He maybe gets off on like fucking over kids, like trying to get beers or whatever, just being a huge dick. But I just don't know if there's enough points on that star.
So yeah, he's got a strong.
Maybe
2,
not.
But
he's got 2.
He's on Cooter watch, but I don't know if it's a Cooter warning. But
what about the clowns?
Too easy.
Well,
collective Cooter clowns. They're spying on a girl while she's taking a shower. Sexual deviance.
No,
and also
it's more of like the way you look at a turkey in the oven.
Sexual deviance.
Okay, all right.
I appreciate that. Sure.
I don't. The clown ladies, they sleep with the guy slinging cream.
That's true, and we don't know how consensual that is and on which end. So
we don't. And their yabos blow up like balloons. So there's got to be something.
Again, it's all manipulation for them. Like that's the thing is like we have a lot of characters who hit at one point really, really.
Yeah.
Hard. But I don't think we have any that really.
There's not a lot of strong cooters here, huh? Damn.
It can be a Cooter free movie. It's been a while. I mean,
I think it is Cooter free. Yeah.
Yeah. Cooter free since
way to be
1988.
Okay, what about the ex-boyfriend briefly, because he kind of had a little bit of arrogance of like him getting jealous, kind of manipulating like, oh yeah, he's going to be safe, kind of takes his ass out like to the woods or whatever.
He locks him up.
He locks him up.
It's a little arrogant.
It's a little arrogant as well. Like he's kind of just doing it to like get back at his ex, and maybe he still kind of wants to be with her. Who knows?
Yeah, and some smug arrogance because he just like is like, not taking this dude seriously
instead of stability. And I was like, that's a huge fuck you line.
Yeah, he could be a Cooter light.
Yeah, he's got 2 points at least, I think. But
I think smug arrogance, maybe not manipulation.
No.
Diet Cooter.
We had a lot of Diet Cooter. This is fucking Coca-Cola presents Diet Cooter.
Oh fuck! We don't want to get sued over here.
Oh shit!
I don't think he hits enough points, man. I still think it's Cooter free.
All right.
Can we say it's Rob and make it a day?
Yeah,
sure.
Rob's the Cooter.
It's fucking Disney for canceling the sequel. That's who it really is.
And it also isn't penetrating you. That's a bummer.
Sexual deviance right there.
Right there.
Cooter of the week, Bob. Done. Booked and lettered.
Killer Klowns is Cooter free since 1988. Gentlemen, it's time for the social hour. We're letting our hair down. We're talking about what we've been watching this week.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Anthony, why don't you kick us off? What you been watching, man?
Man, not a whole lot. I've been kind of prepping for Spiral. So we've been watching through some of the Saw movies, and man, they do not get better. They really don't. Jigsaw's motives just make no goddamn sense. It's like, I want to help people by hurting them so they help themselves. Like, what the fuck are you saying?
He wants to play a game. He can't be more clear than he is.
Like, okay, let's just
play some Yahtzee.
Let's just break down the logic here, right? So he gets this like awful form of cancer, okay? And then he gets into an accident. His insurance won't cover it. But on the flip side, he has this great set of engineering skills. Instead of utilizing his engineering skills to land himself a comfortable job at a large company that could probably provide such insurance for free and also make more money, he decides to go out of his way to murder people and not take care of his cancer and then leave his wife alone as he knows he's dying.
You know, also that whole thing is like, it seemed when those movies were coming out that each subsequent one that had like a Jigsaw light, shall we say, each time that happens, each time that happens, there's copycats throughout the franchise. It's not a secret.
Don't spoil Saw 6, Randy.
Please
okay.
Who said it was Saw 6? God damn it. So yes, the idea that they like every time I watched one, I was like, okay, so these guys' motivations don't make any fucking sense. But you're right. Actually, they make more sense than the original guy because it's pretty clear that those people just kind of want to murk folk. They don't really give a shit about.
Right.
They're just
Exactly.
using a Bible to do so. So
And also, I feel like some of the writing is ridiculous. The beginning of Saw 4, one of the first traps, this woman is in this device that's like pulling her hair back and it's like trying to rip her scalp. And the cop is like starting to look at the gears like he's a fucking cop. He's looking at the gears like he would know what the fuck is up, right? And so instead of like breaking the TV to get a piece of glass or I don't know, anything, like even driving a piece of wood to wedge the gears, he's trying to like go through the gears himself and like maybe I can find an off switch or some pin. Like, get the fuck out of here! Like,
you're really distraught, buddy.
It makes me so upset.
Those movies, they're two very different like alleyways of thought I have about those movies. On one level, I just like stupidly and dumb brain just like enjoy the fuck out of them. Then on the other side, I totally hate them. I can't decide which wolf is dominant in this situation.
Yeah, and so far, I'm not hearing great things about Spiral, but anyway, whatever.
Bob, that's on you.
How was that on
bad?
me?
Because you called Chris Rock and you said make it bad.
Make a shitty reboot, please, for me.
But anyway, on the good side, I recently watched Seven Samurai for the first time. A very different movie. And absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal and gorgeous. So that's what I've been watching.
Nice. Randy, what you been watching?
Also not a ton. I'm going to kind of go on a little alleyway here because one thing that I watched was begat by another. So I watched, there's a horror YouTuber whose channel's called Scaredy Cats. I don't know if any of you guys have watched any of his stuff, but, I've only watched a handful of his things, but he recently had a video and it's titled something like, did you know that The Onion created a horror movie? Something along those lines. And basically he started detailing back in, I want to say like 2010 or something like that. The Onion had like a digital video production thing sort of in the main, sort of like Cracked did, that sort of thing, like a comedy channel. And they made a several like maybe 10 episode short series of like 5-10 minute episodes that basically work out to be about movie length that are like dark comedies, horror comedies. And he details one that I hadn't seen, but then he mentions one that I have talked about I think on this podcast before that I went and watched, which is called Sex House. I don't know if you guys, I think I brought this up to you guys before, but maybe not. It's a series of 10 episodes of a Big Brother parody. And I don't want to say too much because it's definitely one of the bleakest fucking horror comedies I have seen. And it's totally worth watching on your own. And I highly recommend it. It's free on YouTube. Watch them in order and you can watch them in under a movie length time. But it's a Big Brother parody where basically the premise of the show that these people are on is that they're just supposed to have wild sex with each other all the time for the cameras. But of course, nothing goes to plan and they're basically being held prisoner and they're being horribly abused, basically. Not in like very direct ways, but like things like the only food they have is pumpernickel bread and then it goes bad and they just don't have food. And they'll have like, they have a dad who's there in the fucking sex house because he won a pizza contest. Like wild shit. It's impossible to talk about without spoiling. I just got to recommend it though.
Randy always finds that weird kinky shit.
True.
It's the same people. If you like Adult Swimmy sort, if you like the Too Many Cooks level of dark humor, that's kind of where it's at. It's not like that, but it's in that same realm. So yeah, I'm recommending it heavily. I've seen it a few times and it never gets old. This is the only other thing that I've really
never gets old. Damn.
It does. It's like I've seen it probably 4 times now since it came out originally. It's always been good. And the only other thing I've really done audio visual wise has been Pokemon Snap, new Pokemon Snap, which is as delightful as it sounds. And I recommend that as well.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, I love the original. I was very much nostalgic for this when it was announced. And, I don't know a lot of these Pokemon now. I only know the originals. And aside from like the original Pokemon game, Pokemon Snap is the only Pokemon title that I ever actually really played. So it just hits me in this nostalgic feel, but it's also just very delightful and fun and light and easy to play. It's good. It's good.
Cool.
Sweet deal. Juice, what you been watching?
Dude, I've been mellowing out with some old school Disney, which is, it's funny watching them as an adult. Like I watched the Jungle Book, like the OG cartoon Jungle Book. And it's cool. I like I just like seeing the artistic side of it a little bit, like those hand-drawn old movies. But also, too, I'm just like, get out of the jungle, you dumb shit. God damn, stop being such a pain in the ass.
Who, Mowgli? I don't remember.
Yeah. He's just being such a pain in the dick. I also, one that I
red diaper. I don't know what you expect from him.
One that I really liked, the art style wise, and just kind of getting into the vibe again was 101 Dalmatians. The way that one opens up, it's got this cool jazz in it because the dude, he like writes songs or whatever. Even just the way they do the shotgun and it blows all the spots onto the dogs or whatever. It's just like got some really cool artistic things going on that I'm just like kind of wowed by now watching them, just as an adult. Yeah.
Animation wise, that's actually kind of like a turning point for Disney's animation, that movie, because the
101 Dalmatians
full rendered. Yeah. They went from like fully rendered, like matte or like fully painted everything to multiplexer. Like they invented fucking animation like technology, and that was the first movie to do that, to basically make it on the cheap, because they weren't doing it as well with their movie, with their returns in the box office at that point.
I see.
If I remember right. I could have some of that wrong, but sounds right to me.
So yeah, I just been burning through some of those old ones. I watched like another one or two, but all kind of in the same vein. Like I want to see these old school stories that I know, like in the back of my mind, I haven't seen in a long time, but really just kind of watching them for this kind of almost artistic value in a way, and almost just kind of like vibe out, chill out. They always have like nice little soundtracks, and they're light movies to kind of throw on in the background. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of that on Disney Plus. Not a whole lot else, honestly. Not much else. So yeah.
Are you going to be one of those crazy Disney adults in the next year or so, and just?
I don't think so.
Funko popping it up. And shit?
Sure.
I have.
There's a pipeline, Juice. Be careful.
I have almost like zero desire to like go to the parks and like buy all the merch.
That's
like
going to the parks is the only thing I want to do. But more than anything else,
I don't know. It doesn't sound appealing.
I just want to go to theme parks. I fucking love theme parks. Anyway,
damn. All right.
It's been a year.
Sounds like you're already on that pipeline.
Yeah. I'm going to take a ride later,
Just
but it's not going to be a roller coaster.
It
ain't Mr.
Mouse
Toad's
pipeline, just riding it. I also haven't been watching a whole heck of a lot.
Rob, what you been watching?
Yeah. I mentioned last week I watched Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire in it. I finished out that trilogy this week. I watched Spider-Man 2 and 3. I hadn't seen any of these movies in years. Yeah.
That good one.
The greatest one. But Spider-Man 2 is probably my favorite of the trilogy. It's got the best villain, I think, and it's like a little... It's just tighter. Like the writing feels tighter in that in comparison to like the first one, and especially the third one. Third one's just like a hot mess with like 3 villains and like it trying to juggle them and make them all like relevant and carry weight, and just goddamn Venom is just bad. Just really, really bad. Sandman would have been enough, but they it's just scattershot. I don't know.
Sandman
too to me, like he could have been good, but like they gave him a good backstory, but then he just sort of does shit. And
so
really
Sandman was going to be the main villain of Spider-Man 3, and Vulture and Voltress were going to be like a side villain duo in Spider-Man 3. But Sony wanted to put Venom in there. Sam Raimi didn't want to do it, and then it kind of became a director versus the studio situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Spider-Man 2 is probably my favorite superhero movie of all time.
Oh,
Nice.
shit.
It's a good fucking movie, man.
For a long time, it was mine too.
I love seeing Bruce Campbell pop up in all three of those movies in like different roles. When he's like the French like waiter at that restaurant, that shit was cracking me up.
There's an inverse correlation between quality of Bruce Campbell's appearances and quality of Spider-Man movies.
True.
Just crisscrosses right in the middle.
I'd agree with that. Also, when you fucking referenced Macho Man Randy Savage like about to fight Spider-Man, I wouldn't have got that unless I had just watched that movie again. I completely forgot he was in fucking Spider-Man.
So is ready.
Him and Bruce Campbell in the ring together is like cinematic perfection. It's great. Anyway, that's really all I've been watching. We got one more segment to get into, and that is, of course, our Hotline Scream.
Hotline Scream.
If you are listening and would like to call in and leave a voicemail, you can do so at 904-638-3231. We got 3 voicemails and an email this week we're going to blast through. I don't even remember what the prompts were, man. We'll find out as people answer them, I guess. First up, we're going to hear from Logan. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hey, guys. This is Logan. I think you guys have another Logan that calls in, so I guess I'm Logan V2 or something. But I was just listening to your Mummy episode, and at the end of it, you guys were having this huge debate about thriller versus horror. And as much as I hate to open up the genre can of worms, because I really don't believe that any movie should be made to fit into a genre, let alone that, we fight over it. But my understanding from film school was that a horror film involves otherworldly creatures and like ghosts or monsters or what have you, and a thriller just involves people, which I guess was probably true in like the 1950s. I don't think that's necessarily true anymore. I don't really believe that, and I agree with Justin, honestly, that a thriller is really just a horror subgenre. But that's what I was told when I was in film school, that a horror movie has monsters in it and a thriller movie is just humans. So I have no idea if that's true. It was a Christian film school, so I wouldn't take anything that they say for granted. But anyway, so that's it. I'm super excited for Killer Klowns because I love that movie. So it'll be great. Can't wait to hear from you guys about it. Bye.
That last bit at the end was a twist.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know
that shit cracked me up.
That makes a lot of sense that a Christian film school would like make that delineation, because like nobody attending a Christian film school is ever going to watch Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, which is just people, and that is a horror fucking movie, man. Like that is not a thriller,
And lo, the Lord did say that if there be not monsters, then there be no horror.
That is a weird distinction to make. Like it's almost like someone who's never seen more than 5 horror movies.
Yeah,
teaching a film school.
Delineation is anything, really. Like to me, like it's. So I agreed
weird
with what Logan said at the beginning, which is like, it's stupid to argue about it because it's very much. It's like arguing over what's the best pizza. It's like, you can have
Randy,
fun doing
I'll take you
but
on
it's very much a personal preference. I don't even have it. I just like pizza.
It's Pizza Hut. Everybody knows that.
All right, I had a great time, guys.
So like gutter style.
I don't know. I think like being in the business of like film commentary, right? Genres are defined to help us identify tropes within the medium of art that we enjoy, right? I think the issue that a lot of people seem to trip up is like a horror movie can also be a thriller. Like they cross over, I would say, fairly frequently, but I would not agree to the effect that a thriller is just another form of a horror movie. Like I wouldn't call David Fincher's Zodiac a horror movie.
Really?
I I mean, yeah, I can see that. To me, it's like it's very much like it's flavors. You know what I mean? You're talking about different flavors, and sometimes you can find a way to make distinctive flavors taste good together, and sometimes they taste like dog shit together, and sometimes they're just very discreetly separate. And a lot of times they are. And to me, that's so nebulous as to be pointless.
I think the problem is like we have this term that nobody minds using. Horror comedy. It's a horror comedy. Horror comedy. Horror comedy. It's a fantastic horror comedy. We think of it as a comedy film and think of it as a horror film. It's a horror comedy. If we just call thrillers, I love this horror drama. Horror drama. It could be a horror film. It could be a drama film together in the same way. Like, I don't know why it's so easy for us to do it with comedy or comedy. And not
it's because
with
horror
drama.
and comedy are so, are at least instinctively kind of like feel like opposite.
Yeah,
they feels like.
But I mean, in terms of like genre, the way like genre goes, like I don't know why people have to say like, nope, it's a thriller, and so it can't fit in the horror realm. It's like to me, it's just like it's a horror drama. It's like I said last week. I think it's like drama with like the spice of a horror. You know, there's a killer out there. They're doing terrible things. There's a machine and it's alive and it's killing its master.
What was it? El Orfanto. I forgot
Orfanato.
the exact.
Orfanato.
Yeah. Like I would say like, oh, that's a horror drama, right? Silence of the Lambs, definitely a horror thriller.
Oh yeah, you would see that.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like it doesn't. I don't know.
It's
so nebulous. It doesn't matter. And it's like that argument about whether or not Die Hard's a Christmas film and all that shit. It's like at a certain point, it stops being kind of like a fun conversation about like, oh, but it's got Christmas, like, and having a conversation about the movie. I think it starts being like a delineating line between tribes, and then I don't think there's any point or value to doing that.
It's strange to me, like from a psychological point, because nobody says that, or I mean, probably nobody says that Die Hard's not an action movie. So it's like Die Hard's not an action movie. So it's like this weird thing to me where it's fine to say horror comedy and they're so popular. But when it's like Silence of the Lamb, that's not a horror movie. Or like these other things, it's like, why? Like it's so weird to me.
They're just lenses through which to look at the whole product as a whole. And you can change to any kind of, you can say a movie is it's like a critical lens of like feminist movie, but a feminist movie isn't like, that's not definitively what it is. It can also be a horror movie, or it can be, like these are all just very nebulous terms that we use to describe something, and they shouldn't be used in the negative, like you're saying. And I don't think that very many people do. I think for the most part, people are just trying to describe as they see it. Yeah. But they'll get militant about it occasionally. And that's where things are like, this is pointless and frivolous.
I think it kind of gets down to really like award ceremonies at that point, where it's like we're awarding and praising this thing, but we don't want to use certain words just because like people associate it with like a lower class of media. And I think that's where it goes from. Before Birth Movies Death shut down, they had this really great article that was like, why should we give a shit what the Oscars think? In regard to horror anyway.
I ask myself that every year.
And it's this idea. It's like you kind of have this genre that's almost like punk rock in nature, right? It's kind of built to kind of point at the cracks in our system and use as commentary on society, for the most part. Why would we look at this progressive form of art and need it to be recognized by a bunch of like old snobby people who only care about fucking war movies?
So, and even further, it's like, why do we care about this at all? From any, like, this is, we're hardwired for categorization, but art itself defies that idea. So it's pointless. It's all it is just a way for you, a quick access point, like you said, to access, okay, so this might involve a collection of tropes.
Right.
But beyond that, its utility is gone. There's no reason to hang on to those so tightly.
We have a writer on the site. His name's Jake. He is a film instructor, and he teaches this lesson every year, kind of horror versus thriller. I'll send the link to you guys so you can share it with your listeners, because it's a great piece, and especially for someone who's does this shit for a living too, defining it.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Definitely send that our way. Thanks for calling, Logan. Definitely thought you were the other Logan. My bad. We'll share that link whenever Anthony shoots it over to us, so you guys can have a look as well. Next up, we're going to hear from Kyle. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hey, buddies. It's Kyle Ray. Just popping up to say hello. I left the last voicemail. I think I said, like, get off my train, which was a Ghost reference that nobody got, but that's okay. Anywho, I'm watching something fried berry, I think, with the squad, going squad deep. But I called it and I said Bob would be out by second feature 10 minutes. I don't know if it was 10 minutes, but this mouse has not moved in the last 20 minutes. So $25 to old Kyle. And if we could dolls as a category for like July. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your show, but if we could do dolls, it might be a good idea. It might be some fun. Chucky hasn't made it. I don't think Child's Play's made an appearance on the on Straight Showing. Anywho, great job with Mummy, and looking forward to Killer Klowns from Outer Space. But I would talk more, but I gotta go pee. So I gotta let you go. But I love you guys. Randy, Justin, Bobby, Sleepy Bobby. And I'll talk to you guys probably next week or some shit. I don't know. We're pretty close knit group here. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for everything. Love you guys. Bye.
Hey, Rob, did you get your earmuffs? Your ass earmuffs? I fucked the joke up. I was going to say he put your ass on blast. Didn't work.
Wow.
Fuck it. It's done.
Did not land that.
Yep. That plane crashed.
So
sounds like Kyle was sober as a judge.
Yeah, that's not the case for sure. But I definitely lasted longer than what he said. He said 10 minutes into the second feature. I made it till at least 30 minutes, and I don't know. Lies. I don't know. I'm not paying you, Kyle.
I feel like I passed out in the middle of Ginger Snaps, didn't I? Did I wake up and Ginger Snaps was finished?
I don't know. You had a belly full of cream, and then you just passed out. Like a tuckered out
little
tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah. I'm not saying that Rob's the kid at the sleepovers that falls asleep first every time, but it was probably about a 60% split.
Almost every time. Your boy gets tired, and when he's tired, he's not fucking around. He goes to bed.
No, he's not.
Dolls for a theme for as far as the pulpit goes. It's not a bad idea, man. I'm sure we'll get to it eventually.
It seemed very ominously worded, like there's some like all of a sudden in July, Thai Beanie Babies are gonna just start rising from the grave and attacking people or some shit.
I'd watch it.
I would watch that as well, but I don't know. I'm
Nick
wondering
Cage
if there
would
was
be
like
in
a subversive thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Dolls, we'll consider it, man. Thanks for calling,
TIE
Kyle.
Fighter.
Wow. Thanks for calling, Kyle.
Yep.
Pizza Hut is superior to Domino's, period, the end. That's all you need to know.
Oh, is that's a thing? Okay.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
All right.
Next up, I think we're going to hear from Thomas. Let's hear what he has to say.
Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Holy shit.
Well said.
Thanks, Thomas.
This is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, right to the point. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sweet. Loved it.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. Yep. Last but not least, we got an email from Catalan. Who Juice? You reading that? You got that, or is that Randy?
Yeah, I can. My apologies if the audio is bad. I'm having fucked up problems tonight. But all right, here we go. Hey guys, Catalan from Italy here. I want to share with you a spooky experience I had. I was around 14 years old. I was suffering from a really bad toothache. My right jaw was hurting like hell for no apparent reason. I went to the dentist, had an x-ray done and all, but they couldn't find any reason why I was feeling such intense pain randomly throughout the day for months. It was really, really painful. One day in high school, we were on a trip somewhere on the Alps for a week. It was winter, and on those mountains, it was really fucking cold. Of course, being that cold made the pain feel even worse. I didn't know what to do, and nobody could help me. Painkillers worked only for a few hours. So in the evening on the first day, thanks to some painkillers, I managed to fall asleep, and now it begins. I will never forget that dream. In this dream, I was in the same bed I'd fallen asleep on. There was some weird noises going on, so I woke up. The room was different, though. So I sat up and I was trying to understand what was going on. Slowly, I started to realize what I was seeing. The walls were dripping blood, like actual falls with blood. The floor was flooded with blood. There was no way out from there, and there was no way out from there. And at that point, I couldn't move from the scare. But then something from the right side of the bed started to rise. It looked humanoid, but it was dripping blood like the walls. The only thing I know is his shape, a human-looking figure rising from the blood near my bed. Then he snaps, takes my head in his bloody hands, one hand on my forehead and the other one on my mouth. And then he starts pulling. He was pulling my jaw out. I was hearing the bone cracking. That noise is so clear in my head. He pulled harder and harder until he finally takes it off of me. I was still conscious. The pain I was feeling was nothing compared to those months of toothache. I was feeling my tongue hanging there with no jaw to support it. Then that blood dripping demon sank into the blood and disappears. And so I woke up from that. The thing is, since that nightmare, I've never had a toothache ever. Of course, I've stopped chewing on the right side of my mouth because fuck that. Don't want to upset a blood tripping demon. Shit's scary. I think that dude took my jaw to hell. I want to ask you, did you have anything similar happening like this? Sleep paralysis experiences or anything like that? Anyways, keep chilling, guys. Ciao, ciao from Italy.
That's intense as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say that seems like a sleep paralysis dream. Pretty much all the way through. I haven't had one of those. No. I am terrified to have one of those because it's pretty not well understood as like the nightmare. But I do have night terrors and those can be pretty fucked up, but nothing like this. This is like direct mainlining horror imagery. Usually my shit's more eerie or else creepy crawly or something.
I've never had a night terror or experienced sleep paralysis, but I had like a really fucked up dream shortly after I moved into my new place. And I was like, I dreamt that I was like sleeping on my bed, like, just sort of like on my side facing the wall like I typically do. And there was like a sort of a similar situation. This like being just sort of like appeared and like rose up next to my bed and its face was
I think I saw the scene of Ghostbusters. Did it give you a blowjob?
It did. It was great. The end of the story.
Sweet.
No, its face was like ever changing. It was like constantly evolving and it was like a human face, but it was like morphing constantly and it was like real creepy. And it just like whispered like, like we were here before you. And then, like,
it was just like changing from Soju to Randy to Mikey to Soju. Yeah.
Back and forth. Yeah, it was real fucked up. But I woke up.
Yeah, you're the youngin' of the group. That makes sense.
After that, I woke up and I was like freezing cold and just like terrified, like just laying there. Like it was fucked up, man.
That is really fucked up, Bob. Damn.
Yeah.
That's creepypasta level bullshit,
Yeah, that's really
that line is very much something you would read in a creepypasta.
Yeah.
Bob. we were here before you, Bish.
Ain't that the truth? Just don't eat me or some shit. I don't know.
Dude, that's scary. I have done the sleep paralysis thing where like my body is frozen, but I never see like the people. I think it was in the nightmare, and I learned this since I've watched that. It's probably happened maybe 2 or 3 times where my body is like frozen. But I know I'm awake, but I'm like, I can't open my eyes, and I feel my body like locked up, and you like wiggle your toes. And at first it's almost like when you're like in the water and you're like, I have to breathe right now. And so you're like, wiggle your damn toes, but it snaps you out like pretty quick. It just feels like longer than it should be. But yeah, you just wiggle your toes and get you out of that shit. I've never seen any like figures or anything. That's really fucked up. I have been told that I'll wake up sometimes like not screaming in terror, but like yelling at people like I'm really fucking pissed off. So just like kind of opposite in there.
All right.
You motherfucking ghost.
Anthony, you have anything like that going on you want to share?
Oh no, I sleep like a baby.
Jealous.
Oh, sorry. I sleep like the dead.
Sweet deal. Thanks for writing in, Catalan. Thanks for sharing your spooky story. Again, if you guys are listening and like to call and leave a voicemail, hit us up at 904-638-3231. That might be a good prompt for next week. Call in. Let us know if you experience any like night terrors, any sleep paralysis. If you have any nightmare that just sort of has like haunted you throughout your life, call in and share your stories with us. What you got?
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to do it for us this week. We're going to be back next week with a brand new episode, as always. We're going to be tackling a classic, one that is definitely overdue. We're going to be talking about the original Evil Dead from 1981.
About to close out the series, finally.
Yeah.
That will knock out all 4 for us.
That's right. So slam your eyeballs into Evil Dead. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at STR8_chilling, on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. Send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. Anthony, again, man, it's always a pleasure having you on. You know this. We all know this. If you would care to tell the kiddies where they can find all your spooky doings just one more time, sir.
Yeah, of course. As always, I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. I've missed you guys so much. The last, couple years with this whole pandemic going on, it's been rough, man. And a lot's happened in my own life. So being able to kind of share this with you guys has been really nice. And, seeing both of you guys at Spooky Empire was wonderful, and being able to collaborate with Randy on some things has been really fun as well. So it's been nice to connect with people, again. But yeah, if you want more film content and you're a film fan yourself, which I imagine you are, you should check out ghoulishmedia.com. We cover horror, science fiction, kaiju, and action movies, all from an in-depth and intersectional perspective oftentimes. We try and kind of get in-depth and, with whatever we do. And we're all a bunch of film nerds, from, diehard film fans to teachers to scholars, everyone in between. So if you're into some crazy movie content, definitely check out ghoulishmedia.com.
Hell yeah. Squad, run deep. Check out Ghoulish Media. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.